999ers risk their lives every day keeping us safe.
You're putting yourself out there to help other people at their most precious time of need.
But all too often, they're abused and attacked.
Their house is on fire and they're attacking us.
I was standing up with her hands around my throat.
No. These personal attacks on police, paramedics and firefighters are at an all-time high.
He's telling me, I'm going to kill your wife and I'm going to kill your family and I'm going to kill you.
Leaving them traumatised and unable to work.
How do you come to terms with knowing that you can't go and do the job that you love?
But while the violent criminals responsible are hunted down and brought to justice, our protectors fight to get well and back on the job.
We kept people safe, we put away the bad guys.
I'm not going to let some man ruin it for me. This is my future, this is what I enjoy doing.
Ready to face the next critical incident. Knife crime in England and Wales is at an all-time high, with more than 46,000 incidents in the year ending March 2020.
Knife crime is an epidemic in this country. It's a real worrying trend that we're seeing out there, where life is so cheap.
Dealing with knives and related violent crime is now part of the job for almost every frontline officer.
Get out! All right, calm down.
For me, it's that spontaneity and the ease for which you can go and arm yourself with a knife and the consequences and the fatal consequences that can follow.
Coming up in this critical incident knife crime special. Out on the streets with Essex Police's dedicated knife crime task force, Operation Scepter.
Everything from the kitchen knife to the zombie knives to the samurai sword. And also we know that obviously not one type is the fatal type.
In London, a Metropolitan Police officer is the victim of a vicious knife crime attack.
The moment you carry a knife, you're just asking for trouble, because you make a split-second decision that can change the rest of your life or end your life.
Put the knife down now!
And a groundbreaking scheme led by West Midlands Police aims to educate young people on the consequences of knife crime.
This is a real issue. We've seen it nationally. We know it continues to be a problem. And just remember, 30 seconds, that's all it takes to ruin your life.
In Essex, like many parts of the country, knife crime is on the rise. In the year ending March 2020, over 1,000 crimes involving knives and sharp instruments were reported, a 51% increase on 2019.
What we deal with daily is that the carrying of knife to facilitate an offence. So be it the drug dealing probably is the outlier. So the carrying of the knife for that offender will be to secure the commodity for them, and the commodity being the drug. And also it's a status symbol for them, which balls out as part of that criminality. And so I think that's probably the more in-depth and harder to crack.
But Essex Police are fighting back. Last year they launched Operation Scepter, a targeted crackdown on knife crime. In the first 8 months of the operation, Essex Police confiscated over 400 knives.
Operation Scepter for us here in Essex looks at the prevent side of what we do here, so in terms of stopping people carrying knives, trying to look at diversion techniques with those that we think are most harm, also at most risk of going into that type of activity. And then the second part is really the here and now, and actually it's that crime suppression in our chronic areas where we see knife crime.
As part of the operation, teams of police officers carry out regular weapon sweeps and random stop and search patrols.
Right, the briefing site for Operation Scepter, which is tackling violent and knife crime in the Epping Forest district.
Tonight, the team are targeting 2 vehicles on which they have existing intelligence.
Intelligence on that suggests the registered keeper and the driver is carrying a knife when he's inside there in that vehicle. Bear in mind the officer's safety around that. Again, that's activating the ANPR cameras. The second one is the missing vehicle that we're already aware of. Again, that's been pinging cameras that pinged 2 days ago. It's not been very active since then. But obviously there's a vehicle priority. If we see that, we get that stopped tonight as well. Yep. Okay, thank you. Stay safe.
This body-worn footage shows Operation Scepter in action at a previous incident.
Yeah, I've got him.
Several units are responding to reports of an individual with a machete who has randomly attacked a teenage boy. Luckily, he wasn't seriously injured. The suspect is traced to a known address. He's surrounded and quickly arrested. He was found to be carrying these potentially lethal weapons. The suspect admitted grievous bodily harm, criminal damage, and possession of an offensive weapon in a public place. He was sentenced to 2 years and 3 months in prison. This is the type of criminal that Operation Scepter is keeping off the streets. But this evening, the team is using intelligence to target specific individuals.
Tonight's operation is using local officers as well as our operational support group, focusing on individuals as well as and also vehicles that we believe are responsible for habitual knife carrying or linked to crimes of serious violence. That might be people who are going out to steal cars, who obviously habitually carry weapons to facilitate that crime. And we'll hopefully have a number of stop checks, a number of interactions with people that hopefully we're looking for as part of the deployment.
One of the tools that the team has at their disposal is a network of ANPR, or automatic number plate recognition cameras.
The joys of the system is any force that uploads a vehicle, it will hit our cameras as well. So it's a national system, and so obviously being so close to London and to Hertfordshire, having those cameras that are ideally positioned on the main arteries of coming out of obviously London and Hertfordshire. I've also got our current storm incident, which is our database, which basically carries all our 999 calls, so we can get an early heads up to anything that's coming in that's suspicious, anyone obviously acting out of sorts in the area, or any sort of violent related incidents that we can respond to, and making it a hostile environment, really.
The team is notified that a nearby ANPR camera has picked up a car being driven by a man they suspect is carrying a knife.
This is the Mini that was part of the briefing earlier. It's just been stopped, and obviously the intelligence on this one was that the driver carried a knife within the vehicle when he's out. So they're just hopefully stop that now, and they're just hopefully going through the process of searching him and the vehicle, just to obviously sound out the intelligence that we've got on our system.
Yeah, we'll do, thank you.
While the driver of the Mini is questioned, his car is searched to see if he's concealing a weapon.
The key thing is just to try and bottom out the initial intelligence, which is obviously the biggest threat, which was the fact that they believe there to be a knife in the vehicle.
After a thorough search, no weapons are found. However, they do find cannabis in the car.
So yeah, no weapon found in the vehicle. We've been found in possession of cannabis anyway. He's just going for a drug swipe now in terms of his driving. Obviously, if he's got cannabis on him, again, that'll take about 8 minutes to come back in terms of a result, and we'll see what the outcome of that is.
After just a few minutes, the result is positive for cannabis, and the suspect is arrested for driving under the influence of drugs.
You're under arrest on suspicion of drug driving, which is Section 5A of the Road Traffic Act. You don't have to say anything but may harm your defence. If you didn't mention one question, something which you may later rely on in court, anything decent may be given in evidence. All right.
So now, obviously, he's just been arrested for the positive drug swipe. He'll now be taken to custody where a blood test will be taken from him, and obviously the levels of the cannabis within his system will be tested, and obviously the fact he was driving a vehicle, and they'll look at that offence obviously once the results come back.
Later, Operation Scepter tracked down a second vehicle, and this time they find more than cannabis.
He's in possession of a Class A drug, and obviously he's driving a motor vehicle, so the two don't obviously go together.
In recent years, London has experienced a knife crime epidemic.
I'm just going to put you in handcuffs or safety. Okay.
Last year, almost 16,000 incidents involving knives were reported. Increased numbers of police officers are now targeting specific areas to prevent the establishment of knife crime hotspots.
Rather than waiting for an area to develop into a crime hotspot, we're tackling it pretty much overnight. So my day job, I'd come in, look at the overnight trends for the last 24 hours in terms of violence and robbery, and task people into those areas immediately to prevent them becoming longer-term hotspots.
In October 2019, the Metropolitan Police pulled over a van driver on suspicion of driving without insurance.
Where are you going?
But the driver is not cooperating with the police and returns to his van. As the police attempt to stop the driver from escaping, a violent struggle ensues.
Stop fighting, stop resisting.
Suddenly, the van driver produces a large machete and lashes out at the police officer. The police officer retreats, but the van driver lunges towards him, striking him with the machete. The quick-thinking police officer uses his taser to stun the criminal.
I need an ambulance now.
This horrific attack is just one example of an increasing number of incidents involving large hunting knives that police have dealt with.
There's more knives on the street. We are finding more people with knives. And, you know, sometimes it's not even a kitchen knife or a Stanley knife. Sometimes it's one of these big zombie knives, as they're described, you know, these hunting knives. You know, in the heat of the moment, you take that knife out, you don't have to do much to cause serious damage or take someone's life.
Although the brave police officer recovered, he suffered life-threatening injuries, 6 deep head wounds, a fractured skull, and injuries to his hands and arms. The police officer was off work for 5 months, but is lucky to have survived this shocking, unprovoked attack. The offender was convicted of wounding with intent to do grievous bodily harm. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison with a further 3 years on extended licence.
Why people would choose to carry machetes and these zombie knives, you have to ask them. But the moment you carry a knife, you're just asking for trouble. You really are. Because you make a split-second decision that can change the rest of your life or end your life.
In North London, this footage from a CCTV camera shows the moment the police respond to a 999 call. When the caller answers the door, however, there is no sign of an emergency. Instead, the man suddenly produces a knife and begins violently stabbing one of the officers. As 3 of the officers fall onto the street, a 4th officer attempts to control the man, but she too is violently stabbed. Finally, one of the officers tasers the criminal and the attack is brought to an end. A knife with a 23cm blade was recovered after the incident. What seemed like a routine house call became a violent knife attack, demonstrating the unexpected risks that police officers face on a daily basis.
I think the dangers for officers day to day when we're faced with sort of knife crime is that actually a lot of the jobs they go to, it's the spontaneous element of knife crime. It's very easy to go from very subdued, very calm atmosphere to the use of that knife against an officer. For me, it's that spontaneity and the ease for which you can go and arm yourself with a knife, and then obviously the consequences and the fatal consequences that can follow.
All 4 officers were injured in this attack. The attacker was found guilty of 3 counts of wounding with intent and 1 count of attempted wounding with intent. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. On a busy South London street, commuters witness an attack on a driver. A cyclist stops behind a parked car, and a driver pulls out onto the road, almost hitting him before colliding with an oncoming vehicle. The cyclist then reappears with a large zombie knife and starts violently attacking the car. Thankfully, the car's doors are locked, but before long, the attacker manages to smash the passenger window. As other men approach, the driver abandons his car and escapes. The attacker was later identified and arrested. He was convicted of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm, affray, and possession of an offensive weapon in a public place. He was sentenced to 3.5 years in a young offender institution. Still to come, 2 officers are trapped in a suspect's house when he pulls a large kitchen knife on them.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get out, mate, and get out quick. He's got a knife on him. Get out.
And an officer is stabbed in a terrifying attack at a convenience store.
421, I've been stabbed in the arm.
Back in Essex, officers are on the road with Operation Scepter, a specialist team set up to fight knife crime in the county.
We'll have officers deployed across the county. We'll look at, sometimes we will go and actually just target one aspect of the county. One day it will be a burglar who's used a knife, and the next day it'll be around drugs use and drug supply. And the next day it could be somebody that's trying to import a number of flick knives into the UK, which have been stopped at the freight hubs.
Tracking down knife criminals is extremely dangerous work, which is why the officers need a range of protective equipment.
Okay, so we've got the stab vest here, which is obviously resistant to knives and obviously low-level ballistic protection. This piece of kit obviously covers the main vital organs and the vital parts that can really cause damage if it wasn't present. I've been struck by a knife on my body armour. If it certainly hasn't saved my life, it certainly stopped me from having serious injury. We then have the ASP, which is a extendable baton, which officers can use in relation to body mass, but clearly when required, obviously can be used wherever is required, obviously depending on the threat that's posed. We have obviously the incapacitant spray, which is a spray that looks to be sprayed in the upper body area around the facial area. Gives you that sense of disorientation, which obviously gives us that kind of extra few seconds and then the ability for officers to obviously intervene. The next piece of equipment is the rigid handcuffs. These are personal issued to individuals' officers. They're a complete unit. They open up obviously to place the arms within, and they can be double locked, and that obviously then gives protection both to the officer but also the offender, making sure that they don't close in on the offender's arms. The other piece of kit is the individual officers now are issued with body cameras by an Axon body camera. This records both day and night in colour, HD video, and it's clipped onto the body armour of the officer. So it gives you that perception and obviously the visual aspect of where the officer's standing.
As well as all this, Operation Scepter officers are also equipped with a taser, a handheld device which incapacitates the offender by transmitting a 50,000 volt electric shock.
As part of Operation Scepter, we have uplifted the use of taser as another tactic. The taser being drawn and being present. The taser being drawn, present, and the use of that taser.
Put the knife down, fella.
This footage shows just how effective even the presence of a taser can be, as South Wales police officers convince an individual to put a knife down by producing a taser. While in this clip, Wiltshire police use tasers to prevent a robber with a knife from harming anyone. And in Gwent, police avert a very dangerous situation by using taser to subdue a man who has lunged at them with 2 kitchen knives. Back on patrol with Operation Scepter, officers receive a call that one of the other patrols is in pursuit of a driver who is acting suspiciously by speeding away from a parked police car.
One of the cars behind a vehicle that took evasive action against another vehicle and darted down some side roads. It's aware that the unit's behind it, and we're just trying to get just another unit behind it, just so we've got enough units there, just in case it does fail to stop, but also so we can get the driver stopped and find out what he was up to when he initially took evasive action when he saw the original marked police car back in Harlow.
Yeah, vehicle stop, driver out of the vehicle.
They've got the vehicle stopped now, they're just getting the driver out. So I'm just listening out now to find out what the outcome of it was, and we'll float by and just double check there's no checks required for the vehicle or the driver. If it was just a case of some poor driving earlier, or what the outcome is. Originally, a traffic unit had stopped and arrested somebody at the side of the road in Harlow, and this vehicle saw them and darted off at the same time. And it seemed to react basically to the police presence, I think, thinking it was going to get stopped. We're unsure as to why and what the reason behind the manner of his driving was, and he's just being asked to account for that now. And obviously, as well as being subject to a drug swipe as well, just to check that obviously he's not under the influence.
Is that negative as well?
Although the drugs test proves negative, the driver is searched and found to be in possession of 3 small bags of white powder. He is arrested for possession of a Class A drug.
Nice one. So you can just see from the makeup actually of the powder. We think it's cocaine actually. He's in possession of a Class A drug, and obviously he's driving a motor vehicle. So the two don't obviously go together. It's the way that these people drive. It's the telltale signs that we see that obviously result in the stop and the positive search as well.
On this occasion, Detective Chief Inspector Basford and his team are dealing with personal possession of a small amount of cocaine. The suspect is not linked to the weapons and violence normally associated with Operation Scepter. However, the team are satisfied that it's a job well done.
When you just look at those 3 wraps in isolation, they've come from a larger quantity and from a dealer, from a supplier. You know, it's not linked to Scepter directly in terms of knife crime and weapons, but it's linked within the same sphere.
Although no weapons were seized on this occasion, as their shift comes to an end, the Operation Scepter team can reflect on a successful evening's work.
For me, it's been a positive result tonight, and as well as obviously the offences that we've seen tonight, we've had a number of offences in terms of drugs related that have been arrested by our operational support group. So for me, a positive night. And a good result, and it's also good to be out in the community and be visible.
Knife violence is often associated with street crime. So when it happens in the home, it can be all the more shocking, as 2 Cambridgeshire police officers discovered in January 2018, when they responded to a report of a 50-year-old man threatening to end his own life. En route to the man's house, they were informed that the man is wanted by the police for a previous alleged offence.
Hello. Do you right to come in? Come in. Hiya, you alright?
At first, the man is cooperative with police. But as one of the officers arrests him, his mood very quickly changes.
Oh, hello. There's a couple of reasons why we're here. One is that we've got some concerns about you, because I think you've made some threats to your own life. Is that true? No? Okay. Also, there's currently an investigation ongoing in relation to some allegations that have been made against you. Okay? We'll have to discuss that all down at the police station. All right? But at the minute, what I need to say to you is that at the minute I'm going to be arresting you on suspicion of kidnap. Okay, so you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence. If you do not mention one question, so it would say trial in court, and if you do say maybe given an evidence. Do you understand? If you just stand up for me a minute, and I can explain that all to you when we get to the police station.
Kidnap who?
Okay, listen. I don't know.
No, who did that? Kidnap.
The man becomes extremely aggressive and attacks the arresting officer.
Get off from me. Who did I kidnap?
Get off me!
Get off me!
He then disappears into the kitchen and produces a large knife.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
As he runs towards the other officer, he is quickly tasered and immediately falls to the ground.
Do not move your hands! Do not move your hands! Handcuff him! Do not move your hands! You're still attached to taser!
Thanks to these quick-thinking police officers, a major incident was avoided. The offender pleaded guilty to attempted escape from lawful custody and 2 counts of assault with intent to resist apprehension. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison.
I'm sorry.
The 2 police officers involved were nominated for awards for their actions and bravery in this attack.
You've got somebody in front of you who wants to cause you harm. So sometimes you'll have to fight for your life. It doesn't look pretty, but sometimes that's exactly what's needed. I'd rather my colleagues be well prepared, well equipped and well trained rather than go to another police officer's funeral.
In Nottingham, officers have arrived at a man's home to arrest him and bring him into custody to be questioned.
Come on, listen. Let's be like gentlemen, okay? And let's get this sorted properly, okay? We don't need to...
Initially, the situation appears to be under control. But as the man is getting changed, things turn nasty.
Get it sorted, okay? So let's get some clothes on. We'll get you down to the custody block and we can sort it from there, mate. Okay.
Get out!
The man suddenly produces a kitchen knife and threatens the 2 police officers.
All right, calm down.
Fearing for their safety, the officers taser the man and he is immobilised.
Male's pulled a knife on us, we have to taser him.
In court, the offender admitted a fray. He was sentenced to 18 weeks in prison. Urban centres all over the UK have seen a surge in knife-related crime. In 2019, the criminal justice system dealt with the highest number of knife and offensive weapon offences since 2009. West Midlands Police cover the major city of Birmingham and the surrounding urban areas. Latest statistics from here reveal that the police dealt with over 5,000 offences involving a knife in the last year. For officers on patrol in Birmingham city centre, the threat of knife crime is never far from their minds.
We've had a log come in that says a couple of yous had a knife, not too far from the station actually. Knife crime it's happening more often, you know, throughout the country, but it's in this line of work, whenever you hear the word knife, you know, whenever it's mentioned, you do get a little bit more worried, basically. We worry, just because we walk around in shiny uniforms doesn't mean we're less worried than anybody else. Yeah, I have a bit more protection than maybe, you know, another member of the public, but it still worries me. I still come to work and I hear an incident where a mention of a knife, and it does still worry me. It does, still scares you. The word scared is not something that we should be scared to say. You can be scared in this job quite easily. We had an incident not too long ago where a few youths had turned up at a local shop and they'd had a bit of disorder inside and they'd smashed a few items from the shelves, a few bottles of alcohol, I think, and then they'd made off from the area on a bus. We followed the bus, tracked down the bus, stopped it, and there was a few youths that matched the description that got off the bus straight away. We've then ended up having an altercation, a physical fight with these lads that have got off the bus. And we've ended up taking them to the floor and they've been handcuffed. And once searched, it was a 10-inch kitchen knife had been found down the coat of one of the lads. It really brings home that you have to be constantly on your guard about any job can change at any time and it can be anything.
This footage shows the types of incidents West Midlands Police have to respond to. The offender is brandishing 2 knives outside an apartment block in Birmingham city centre. After several warnings, police deploy their taser and the man immediately falls to the ground. The offender pleaded guilty to 2 charges of possessing a bladed article. He was sentenced to 12 months in prison. In response to the rise of knife crime in their area, West Midlands Police have adopted a proactive approach to educating young people in local schools about the dangers of knife crime.
Today we're going to give you a few messages about knife crime. Everything we're going to discuss today and we're going to watch is all real life. So the purpose today is to demonstrate a change in tact. It's around us trying to get a message across. We accept now that police officers in uniform coming into schools is not necessarily working. We've seen a national rise in knife crime, particularly in the under-25s. We have to be honest that what's going on and how we're educating at the moment is not working, because we're seeing that increase still nationally around people carrying knives and the use of knives. And that's why we're trying to get into schools across the West Midlands, deliver these presentations to try and help with that educational piece, so we see the benefits in the future.
I've been in jail 4 years, and since I've been in jail...
In this groundbreaking project, officers show pupils an interview with a local teenager who was given a life sentence for murder when he fatally stabbed Lucas Firmanek in 2015.
He was out in the middle of the night and he was out with an older lad when they came across 2 lads who were walking back from a night out, a lad by the name of Lucas and a lad by the name of Joseph. Within 30 seconds, Lucas had been stabbed 15 times. Joseph was stabbed several times. And it was only for the really good skills of the medical team that happened to be nearby that Joseph survived. Otherwise, Lucas and Joseph would have died that night, and that would have been a double murder.
It's not even just about me, it's about the person that lost his life as well. What about his family? The person that died, that was his mum's only child, and that child is not there anymore. He's gone, the mum doesn't have a child anymore. So obviously it's about them as well. And it's not nice because having to live with the feeling that I've taken a life.
I think one of the clear things for me about when we come into schools and we do this presentation is that the children are fixated around Saddam's video. They engage really well with it, they digest it. It's somebody who's talking to them on a level at the same age, and the understanding and the kind of wider impact it's had on him, his family, and the other people that are involved in that.
I've been in jail 4 years, and since I've been in jail, I've had a little sister, I've had a niece and a nephew.
The locality of this school is quite close to where some of those offences took place as well, so it's quite hard-hitting for the children. You know, they will have heard of these areas, they may well have visited them as well, so they'll have a clear indication in their minds of, you know, the location, the scenes, and it's around us trying to get those messages across.
But because of what I'm going through, I don't want nobody else to go through it, and sometimes it's hard for people to understand that because they don't really know nobody that's going through it. Because I'm going through it, I don't want you to go through it. That's the only reason I'm telling you not to carry a knife.
All of this involves people's lives and it has a massive impact. Saddam, when he comes out, who's going to want to employ a murderer? Who is going to want to have him, you know, as a partner? Who is going to want to have him in their family? Keep those thoughts. Keep the thoughts of the stuff we've gone through, and just remember 30 seconds, that's all it takes to ruin your life. We still see knife crime, but also we are seeing this mentality that it's okay to carry knives, so straightforward possession, police officers interacting with people, finding them in possession of knives. So that this is a real issue. We've seen it nationally. We know it continues to be a problem. But this is not just a policing issue, it's an educational issue, which is why we're coming in, we're working with schools, we're working with partner agencies to try and assist us in that reduction.
Knife crime has a devastating effect on its victims, including police officers. In Hartlepool, PC Mick Johnson of Cleveland Police suffered from PTSD after a horrific incident involving a man armed with a knife.
The full report was a male acting very strangely up at a parade of shops. So I made my way there on blue lights with the sirens going.
Last year, Cleveland Police dealt with more knife and weapon offences per head of population than any other police force in the country. But little did Mick know the incident he was heading to would come into that category.
So I made my way to the shop. Bear in mind, this time we do have body-worn cameras, so my body-worn camera went on.
421 arrived.
As I get to the door, two young girls come walking out rather quickly. A little bit scared, but they were laughing as well, giggling as if to say, ooh, there's a weirdo in there.
Are you all right, Mara?
I walked in the shop. A shopkeeper's, she stood behind a counter, and there's a male stood in front of the counter, and he's got half a bottle of wine.
What's happening, mate? What's your name first? What's your name? All right, Sandy. Sandy.
At one point, he came towards me, because he could see my radio going off, and he was going, can I make a phone call on that?
Calm yourself down. Right, steady.
No, I think just can I just press?
No, mate. Not allowed to. Not allowed to, mate.
He started shouting at me, and he was rambling. I was asking him, look, tell me what the problem is.
Like everything was fine.
Has everything got to you a wee bit, has it, mate? I just want to help you.
As Mick tries to calm the man down, at first he seems cooperative. But it's not long before he becomes extremely volatile.
No, there's another one on the way. Are you going to come and have a chat with me or what?
No, go outside.
No, I'm not going outside, mate. I can't leave you like this, not in this state.
30 seconds later, he just reached into his pocket, his jacket pocket, and pulls out this kitchen knife.
I am. 421, he's got a knife. More units here now, please. Get back now. Let's just spray you.
Brought me incapacitating spray out, and he's being extremely aggressive. And I thought, I'm in trouble here.
Right, put the knife down, it's not worth it. Put the knife down! Get out, mate, and get out quick. He's got a knife on him, get out. Put the knife down, man! Put the knife.
We do get trained to react to knife incidents, but when one actually happens like that, your training does kick in, but so does the fear.
As Mick is forced to back away, the shopkeeper is left trapped inside the shop.
Put the knife down!
I've never done this!
Put it down!
I've never do it! I've never done this!
Right, well, come outside and put the knife down, come on, now!
He then closed the shop door. So I'm outside, he's inside, he's got a knife, and there's a member of the public in there.
As Mick attempts to open the door, the offender reaches out and stabs him.
421, I've been stabbed in the arm. Move back, mate. Get back, please.
He then comes back outside the shop and starts, again, just talking absolute nonsense.
Come back now! Get back!
Mick's request for backup has been picked up, and several officers are soon on the scene.
Get a
3 of my colleagues turned up. 2 of them used the spray again on him. The 3rd one tasered him. When the 3 guys arrived, I was like, oh, God for that. So relieved. I thought it was about 5 minutes wait. It was 2. 2-minute wait. From him producing that knife to those guys arriving, it was 2 minutes. And that's rapid. I couldn't ask for anything. I couldn't have asked for any quicker response than that.
As his colleagues detain the suspect, Mick falls to the ground.
It hurt, no doubt about it. Although the cut itself wasn't big, it was only a 2-centimetre cut. It did go straight into the bone virtually.
The offender was found guilty of actual bodily harm, possession of an offensive weapon and affray. He was sentenced to 8 months in prison, suspended for 2 years. He was also ordered to carry out 30 days of rehabilitation and pay a £140 victim surcharge. Although Mick escaped serious physical injuries, this shocking incident had a significant long-term impact. Mick was diagnosed with PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder.
All I can remember is I was really tired. I wasn't sleeping. It didn't matter what time I went to bed at night. I was up at 4 o'clock. I was awake at 4 o'clock every morning without fail.
Tea or coffee?
Have tea, please. Probably withdrew into myself a little bit. I certainly don't remember being snappy with any of my family or shouting at them in any shape, way or form, but apparently I did, and I didn't remember that. I would say I'm probably now not quite there still, but getting there. Us talking about it all the time has helped.
I knew that Michael needed me to be strong and be there and, you know, make sure he was okay. It's horrible to see somebody normally so strong have those defences knocked down a little bit and that they need some help. You don't like to think that of anybody that you love. It's hard, it is hard, because I just want it all to go away.
I just want to get rid of this now, put it right behind me and just get on with my life.
Mick still occasionally battles with PTSD, but despite this, he continues to do the job he loves.
It's still a fantastic job to do. We are still highly respected by the vast majority of the public, but obviously you're going to get the ones who don't like us. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to do a job. I'm here to protect people. I'm here to protect the property. I'm here to save lives at the end of the day. As long as I can keep doing that, I'll be happy.